Okay, we have an official opposition party in the sense that INEC has just announced that it has recognized ADC led by former Senate President David Mark. They're also, it's made up of notable politicians, coming from both PDP and APC. Those are the kind of people that make it up. And, let's talk about that today. We are yet to hear of what their plan actually is. Well, the loudest plan that they've put out there is to send President Tinubu packing. That seems to be, what is guiding them. Of course, I'm sure it must be more substantial than that, because people are now going to wonder and will be asking, so tell us what you're going to do beyond send Tinubu packing. Okay, agreeing without conceding, conceding without agreeing that this objective of yours, let's say you can even do it. So what is it that you're going to do differently? Okay, we'll talk about that today with my guest. He's a friend of the house, Libros Oshoma, legal practitioner, political affairs analyst. It's a delight to have you, as always.
Thank you, Uncle Yori.
My brother. Now that we have this opposition properly, yes, they always were opposition, but people were saying, oh, we're not, we'll see about that. Well, they've been very hard at work, and somehow they've got INEC to post by itself that they now recognize the David Mark-led ADC. So I suppose, first of all, two questions. One is a mini one, which is, so what about Dumebi Kachiku, who had been showing that he wasn't quite happy with the way things were going? That's one. That's the small one. The other one is that, what do you think of this? What does this mean towards 2027?
Yeah, thank you very much. And good day to our viewers and all over the world. For Dumebi Kachiku, this is a battle that had been on since 2022. The former, I think, party chairman, Raf or so,
yes.
There were allegations that he was contrary to the provisions of the Constitution, I think Section 223 of the Constitution also, that makes provision for periodic elections in political party and internal democracy. That he had, been at the head of affairs of that political party for up to 16 years or so. And Dumebi Kachiku had levied allegations against him that what they just simply do is wait for every election cycle. They sell, mandate to the highest bidder and all of those were allegations, and they went to court. Dumebi Kachiku defeated Kingsley Moghalu in the primaries, and so he had the running battle with the party leadership at that level, and they had the support of some states, leaders of the party. But in the matter went to the Court of Appeal, and typical of the courts, they refused to interfere in the internal workings of the party, and to that extent, that's where I know of that matter. Even when the ADC was formed, or when they infused new members, I wouldn't say formed because it has been in existence.
Yes, before.
I also listened to Dumebi Kachiku also, raising certain allegations. But now that INEC had recognized the party leadership under David Mark, I would say that as it is, it's either the court would either also want to interfere. But I can tell you that the court will not interfere in the leadership. And
because
so
it's an internal affair of the party. It's
an internal affair of the party. So the court cannot impose leaders on the party. So it is either for, Dumebi Kachiku to either leave the party, align with them, or join another party. There are so many other political parties, but it is a good one for the ADC that they are able to put a house in order. It shows that they are truly ready to give the APC a run for their money. Anyway, these are veteran politicians.
All of them. It's top-heavy with
the political
them.
landscape for a very long time.
Yes.
From David Mark, we all know his antecedent.
Yes.
Right from his youthful days, he's been a military leader, you know, became Senate president for a long time. At some point, even when he left, some people addressed him, called him Senate Committee Chair on Observation, you know. And then I think Abamoro, he left Abamoro, you know, who was still in PDP, by the way, you know, replaced him in the Senate. So people have been accusing. Also, it is good for the APC because there have a lot of accusation thrown at the APC and especially the administration of President Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that they are not receptible to opposition ideas and that they've used police and the DSS to invite opposition, members of the opposition. Anyway, that argument is neither here nor there because for the fact that you're in opposition does not mean that you should run foul of the law. Because also, when APC was in opposition, they did accuse PDP of harassing them using state apparatus. You remember those days, Marilyn Oga, who was the spokesperson of the DSS, was almost like the spokesperson of the PDP then where they were. So it's always their game. It's what they do. But why I said it is good for the PDP, the APC, is that they've been accused severally of not, of not giving a fair play to opposition. And so now having an opposition that seems formidable, you know, they can beat their chest to say, well, you see, even the INEC that you have serially accused of playing the APC game have also recognized, you know, the opposition. If the INEC had recognized the other factional leader, it would have been that, oh, look, the INEC is playing the card of the APC or the government in power. So that's done. Now that the party had been recognized, we should not shy away from the fact that everybody knows, even Buba Galadima has said it, that the ADC is Atiku's candidature, what do you call it, Atiku by extension, Atiku or president by extension, whatever, anyhow you want to look at it. And so Atiku have led the PDP, so we'll wait for him now to see when he will join the ADC.
Well,
so,
no, he's already in the ADC.
But he has not formally.
But he has always been a floor member.
Yes,
the
he
way
has
they've been
formally
playing
registered in his wards.
Oh, okay.
He has not formally, but I don't think so, because he left the PDP, but he has not formally registered in his ward as a member of the ADC.
Okay, you know what?
Sorry quickly, sir. Okay. So now that, you know, all of those modalities for recognition had been, all the hurdles had been crossed, I think the next thing would now be for the ADC to show Nigerians truly what they mean by, you know, removing, you know, Nigeria from the woods.
Indeed. You know, the APC, President Tinubu, have always said there is no agenda, no notion of trying to turn Nigeria into a one-party state. He has said, and the party has said, that we welcome the opposition. But of course, they're not going to do their homework for them. Let them go ahead and let them do what they need to do, and we have regulatory bodies. And so, well, those ones are taking them up on their challenge.
For me, I take politicians' words, you know, with a pinch of salt.
With a pinch of salt.
Even though the president will say, oh, we are not opposed to having opposition. But somehow, every president in Nigeria over time that we have seen subtly find a way to either have mole in the opposition or find a way to ensure that the opposition is not formidable. So the president can say all he wants, so we are not averse to having opposition. But if he has the power to be the sole candidate, I know he would want to do that. That's the lifestyle of politicians in Nigeria. And so certainly this also should not act as an encourager to the opposition to go to sleep, to say, no, the president has said he's not averse. And so because of that, we should just go to sleep and say they won't have them, they won't try to scuttle, you know, every move or every attempt by the party. But that said, I never believe that, you know, for a determined politician, that a government can turn the state for, especially for Nigeria, where you have, you know, multi-party system, that the government can turn the state into a one-party state. The idea of a one-party state, when people talk about one-party state, when you are unable to put yourself together, to bring yourself together to form, you know, a formidable association, or when governors leave their party and move into a ruling party, what you call the ruling party syndrome. The ruling party would always want, you know, to pull, you know, people. Then you can't accuse the government of creating a one-party state, because the people who are being wooed to join the ruling party are joining that ruling party for either selfish reasons or for reasons best known to them. So you can't blame the people who are giving them that platform to say, come and join us. You also blame those opposition leaders who are unable to put themselves together. And that's why I say kudos to the ADC for being able to pull this one. Even if at the end of the day they don't win the election, we need a formidable opposition to look the government in the face and say, this one, you're not doing it well. That one, this you can do it better. That way also. Because Nigerians, who ordinarily are the ones in opposition, are not able to bring themselves, to galvanize themselves to come together. So they need a voice in form of an opposition, no matter how selfish, you know, that will be able to, you know, put the government on its toes. Because otherwise, the government can run riots. And some of us whose voice, they just don't mind those people, they are noisemakers. After all, they won't contest for election. But when they know that somebody, you know, who is also a politician, who knows what you know, would come and maybe join another political party, no matter the enticement, to say, I want to give you a run for your money. They are also scared, because it is not just about the presidency. Some other members, you only can rig election where you are popular. There are members who are contesting for House of Assembly, who are contesting for Senate, who are contesting for councillorship, or even House of Rep, who will be threatened also by membership of the ruling party because they are not popular in those areas. So that's where I think that the opposition should now begin to look at and find a way to woo people with their plans and programs, with alternative, and to ensure that, you know, they have a robust, you know, mechanism. Gone are the days of a messianic posture of Buhari that you could, you know, sell with by just simply saying the man is anti-corrupt. There is no such politician in Nigeria today that you can.
That whole notion didn't get us very far, did it?
And it didn't get us anywhere. And then the 20...
I beg your pardon, because there's a call, you know, on the line. Oseni in Jos, good morning to you.
Good morning, Okoyori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to Barrister.
He can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes, Okoyori, you see what the barrister is saying about, yes, our leadership in Nigeria over time have not become, in fact, don't want anything opposition. We have been climbing down on opposition parties. If they really a ruling party don't want to see an opposition growing up, or to give it an opposition, or to give, in fact, even if it's a constructive, let's say, challenges or criticism. Our leaders want to emerge, they want to rule the country the way they want. They don't want anything opposition, be it from party or from anybody. And that is why you see the country is being ruled the way it is. We know that we are not practicing one-party system. That is why we have different parties. Sometimes you see about 10, 20, 30 parties being registered by INEC. Well, then you ask yourself, what is the mandate? What is the duty of those parties? Of course, after election, is for them to be able to challenge the government to make sure that the government insists that she should be able to deliver the mandate to the people. But our own case is a different. And let me tell you, let me be honest to you, Uncle Oldi.
Okay.
Why this thing is going is that we have never had it this way. The way the other opposition parties have been trying to scandalize, trouble in their system, the way we have it under this administration.
Okay. Okay. I get you. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Oseni.
That's not true.
Well, they know that they can have their say.
I completely agree with Mr. Hosseini that every government, even at the state or local government level, do not want opposition.
They don't love them.
No.
No. It's not that they don't want them, but they don't love them.
No, they don't want it.
But they know that.
Yes, it's our nature, even in Nigeria. Okay. In university, for example.
You don't want critical opposition.
Nobody wants critical opposition. In our universities, for example, unlike other places where ideas are supposed to be interrogated, but you find that our university system is to create, pump those ideas and take it, and then you are examining on those. Okay. You dare not tell your lecturer, for example, that I have a contrary opinion to this opinion that you are pushing.
Let us examine that position more critically.
In some cases, you are a commissioner in a state executive, and then a governor is talking and you say, sir, I have a contrary view to your opinion. He will ask you, they brought you here to chop, not to come and have a contrary view. Or you are a lawyer, for example. You are telling a client who is rich that, look, this approach is wrong. He will tell you, if you know it better, you would have been a rich man. And not, you would be sitting on this side of the table. So generally...
By the way, does it work like that in the NBA too?
Yes, it does.
Even in the NBA?
Everywhere.
Where you people are supposed to be the real apostles of democracy.
And that's why you find that most times lawyers would have, the opinions are
they're all over the place.
Most especially if it's coming from a senior. He will tell you, I've been practicing law for,
you were in elementary school at the time.
And that's why most times we attack the messenger and leave the message.
Okay.
Because so when it now comes to political power, we only see it from the realm of politics and say, oh, they don't want opposition. It's our nature. And so, but you find that every government, I just gave you an instance when the APC was at their formation stage. DSS raided their office in Okpebi, you remember, that they were cloning ID cards. All of these were attempts to ensure that the opposition is destabilized. So those people, the president inclusive, who shouted foul at that time, is in power today. And they're using the same tactics to handle the opposition also, because it is our nature naturally.
But you recall that you have heard President Tinubu defend the right to opposition, defend the right to have an opposition.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Oh,
it's a different thing.
Okay, I hear you. Joshua, good morning to you, sir, in Irewolede.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling.
Good morning to Libros.
Yes.
Good morning, Oga Joshua.
Uncle Yori, I would like, because of his position as an activist, and that is, we are now in democracy. I see a situation where most of the people who are claiming to be activists are still acting like we are under the military dictatorship. And so they are fighting government rather than critiquing government. You see, when an activist goes out to say the president is a criminal, for example, that's not an activist.
No, I think everybody will agree. That's not activism.
Because that person is branding the entire nation criminals. The most understanding president I have seen so far is President Tinubu. And he talking about this man. He has lived in the most hostile political environment, and he has been able to cope. His last speech, he still said, anybody that has anything to say can say it. Allow the rule of law. But we are beginning to misuse that. People are using activism for this election. The government has power to fold its arm and look at you when you are calling for violence, you are destroying everywhere. Some of them will say, Beto Queen is an idiot. We can't even draw the line between sanity and insanity again. Just because people want the opposition. I think opposition should be about alternatives or superior arguments. It's not about...
I hear you. I hear you, Josh, but you will also have to agree that not all, indeed, not a majority of the activists, as you call them, are like that. Yes, there are the odd, acerbic ones.
Do you know, I find it difficult even using the words that Josh used. So you see them sometimes when they say, growing up, they say when somebody tells you, go and tell the Oba that he's using the F word.
Yes.
And you go to the Oba and tell him. It is you that actually insulted the Oba.
Yes, now.
So by repeating those words, that's what some of these persons want to achieve, is for you to consistently repeat these words. And by regurgitating them, you give credence to what they have said. And that's why I talked about here, when I started, I said that most times, it's our nature most times not to want, opposing view, not to welcome opposing views. And then that in most cases also we leave the messenger and attack, we leave the message and attack the messenger. And that's why it's when somebody gives an idea, an opinion, the next thing you say, you hear somebody will say, you are an idiot for saying that. Rather than say, no, I didn't expect this to come from you, or you shouldn't have said it this way, this is what you should have said, you go straight frontally attacking the person. I see that most times. I welcome all comment, but at the same time, decorum and civility. So for me, to stay on the topic.
Yeah, because, his point was that activists, so-called,
he is also an activist.
Indeed, I get your meaning.
Once
I get your meaning.
Active in the social space,
I get your meaning.
Activist.
And but I also wanted to propose that not the majority of activists. In fact, I would say is the if he's talking about Omoyele Sowore, for instance, who he didn't mention by name, yes, but by selecting one particular criticism, everybody has their style,
like that.
Thank you.
Of addressing issues.
Exactly.
Sometimes I will not belabor myself where certain persons address me in certain ways.
Okay.
Because I'll look at my status and look at the person's status, and then I know if I respond, it is my response that people would listen to, because I don't get validations from what people say. So, but when you now want to validate what that person said by responding, take this quarrel between Soludo and Equinife. It is Soludo's, voices that people will hear, and then whatever Equinife says re-echoes through Soludo. In the same vein, as opposition party are looking for those things that we hurt, that we hurt the most, and that's way you keep by responding.
But that's not even the objective of opposition.
Exactly. That is why I said. That is why I said. That is. Remember, when APC were in opposition, there was nothing they didn't say to Goodluck Jonathan. There was nothing,
including that he was clueless.
Clueless, called his wife all sorts. But at the end of the day, once you begin to discuss those things said, you leave the main issue, and then you're addressing the mundane, the inanities, the irrelevant,
okay.
And then that keeps the opposition. Who said it? It keeps the opposition on the top burner. But if you are able to redirect the conversation to say, look, this is not what we're even discussing. Call me on names for all you care. All Nigerians want to know is, what are you coming to do differently?
That's the most important.
This is what we have done, and this is where we are going to. But you are saying, calling me names, it won't help you, because at the end, it is about welfare. It's about this. We have done this here. You have nothing to showcase. So at every turn, you deflate the insult and railroad the conversation. That way, it makes you a taller person. It makes you a bigger person.
Well, in the meantime, another caller has come on. I'm very happy that it is you sitting in that seat. You know the program very, very well. It's almost like your program too. So, Mr. George in Ikeja, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to Libros.
Indeed.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, what we have is cannot be described as opposition, because opposition is about telling the people, convincing the people that you are better than the ruling government. And you show them this, if you were the one, this is the way you will have done it.
Yeah.
This is the way you will have done it. By so doing, if your argument is strong, people will begin to lean towards you. And when elections come, they'll be thinking of that alternative. That's what in politics is known as opposition. What we have here is not opposition. They are making it easier for the president to win a re-election because none of them is able to come out with an idea that is different from what the president is doing, that is superior to what the president is doing. All I'm saying is just bitterness. I want to remove him. And they're going violent.
We want to send Tinubu packing.
We want to send him packing.
That is so the mantra they're singing.
What has that got to do with the Nigerian people? So when you remove one president, and you will be there, meanwhile you have nothing to offer. Okay. So that is not opposition. That's not opposition.
We'll wait.
They're actually making things easier for the president to win a re-election. I am seeing traces of violence with this ADC. If you see them appearing on television or holding meetings anywhere, you see that their trait is about violence. They just want to take over power by all means. I want to advise them that they should change because the government will not sit down and allow some people to turn the country into into anarchy because somebody wants to be in power. There has to be orderliness for elections to take place.
Okay.
Why are you bitter? If you have something better to offer, is it bitterness? Your own is to explain it.
Okay, Mr. George. Okay, appreciate your calling in. I want us to return to a point that we were on before. Now, congrats to ADC because they've now been recognized by INEC, no less. But there still is the issue of, do you see anybody else in that place peacefully becoming the presidential candidate apart from Atiku Abubakar?
I would want to quote Dati Ahmed, the running mate to Peter Obi of the Labour Party, former Labour Party member, in the last, or Labour Party member,
yes,
in the last election.
Because they,
excuse me,
they haven't jumped Labour yet.
He has not, but he's hobnobbing, not Dati now, Peter Obi, will see him hobnob with the ADC. He said that that ADC is Atiku, and that they would, if they allow a fair primaries, and that Atiku is known to dollarize primaries. Those were his words, not mine, on TV. And so, let's go back. In 2003, the crisis between Obasanjo and Atiku was on ambition. His running mate wanting to, fly the flag. In 2007, if not for the intervention of the Lagos politician, now president, Atiku was almost, out of the office as vice president. It took the judgment of the court in Lagos here to save him. He also was on the ballot in, I think it was ACN then, even though he was just leaving office as the vice presidential candidate. And since then, he has consistently, been a candidate at various...
So much so he's been referred to as a serial contestant. Daraprin. And then in 2015, the 2015 election, 2014 Congress, it was because of his ambition that he pulled out some other governors from the PDP. So the crisis of PDP today started from the Atiku time. And we know his ambition. He came to the APC, he didn't win because Muhammadu Buhari was like, the ticket had already been given to Muhammadu Buhari. And then he left when he couldn't get the ticket in APC back to PDP. And some persons like Wike, who feels larger than life today, felt, look, we can't nurture PDP and then somebody from somewhere come to claim it. So even though he has no personal agenda. So all of the crisis created of PDP started from that pullout in 2014. And so Atiku bringing politicians together again, it seems to be the behemoth amongst all of these persons. And then you think that a man who has never hidden his, ambition to be president, to rule the country. Yes. You think he will bring others, and we have never seen him groom
other politicians was, okay, we are grooming these ones to be, to take over. Just the same way other leaders outside of the shores of Nigeria will groom future leaders. We don't see our politicians do it here.
No.
So you think that ticket will go to somebody else?
Let me take a break. There's plenty of meat on the bone. Thank you for joining us. Libros Oshoma, lawyer, political affairs analyst, is our guest this morning. So we're talking about ADC, now under the chairmanship of Senator David Mark
Bonaventure.
And he also, was a former Senate president. He's been a minister.
Yes.
He's been, as you were saying at the top of the program. Did I hear, did you say something? Okay. Ms. Sunday Adenuga, good morning to you, sir, in the UK.
Morning. Yeah, morning. And thanks, Uncle and our guest today. I think the guest just put most things in the real perspective, if you're being honest. And I really feeling when he mentioned some of those things that are happening from history, how ECN or APC did during their own time when they were opposition. Well, I think focusing on the subject of today, which is ADC being recognized, fair enough. But what we've not been able to see, or what is most prevalent, which probably also comes to what the guests have said today about our attitude generally to things. I often call most politicians you find today in the opposition, I call them Kasongo. Where they just go, I'm talking people just for the sake of it.
Kasongo, yeah.
Sorry, I have to use that. For us, of course, we do get a lot of approach in the big party. And I've been in meetings where people feel like, oh, you people who are young, you are supposed to come and we talk. I say, yeah, we do talk. The point is that what Nigerians care to listen to? Is it also the attitude of us as people? We only want to keep the same about talking about policy decisions. Nobody cares to review policies or manifestos. And when you do, people don't even read. So it seems to be an approach that also has been investigated and have today, where what interests people, what people have even interpreted to be opposition, about constructive criticism or putting the government of the day on the toes by way of looking at the policies and the way they implement these policies. So it's unfortunate we have found ourselves as a people in this part. But for those of us who believe in this opposition for national development, we keep doing it even when the voices are not being heard. And the government of the day too are not being helpful. Because it seems that's the only thing they're interested. When these guys come up and attack them, they quickly respond, just like the speaker today, I guess they have said, it's sad. These are the only thing even the government of the day gave voice to. They don't give voice to when real criticism, objective analysis of the implementation or the way they implement their policy. Well, we'll keep doing our best, but it's not entirely true that all opposition are Kasongo political opposition. No.
Thank you very much for calling in, Sonny. Appreciate you. Mr. Sonny Adenuga, he's chairman of Boot Party, Because of Our Tomorrow, BOOT party, and he was speaking to us from the UK there. Okay.
I agree with him. I agree with him to a very large extent that also the government of the day gives teeth to this pattern of opposition, because as at elections were 2023, and then by 2025. While you should be discussing policies and the gains of your manifestos, of your plans and programs, your policies, you're already discussing 2027. You already win governors.
Yes.
So the moment you start that, what you have done is to ring the bell of election. And those people who also want to see you out of office will also wear their toga of politics. And what would be the rallying point for the everyday person? Unfortunately, sorry to say, we're a largely, illiterate country where sentiment rules than reason. So the opposition would ride on what was the general outcry? Hunger. And the government also agree that their policies have brought hunger because, like I said before the program, because we don't have social security, we have been subsidizing our lifestyle with corruption. We use corruption for our social security. So I collect brown envelope. From that brown envelope, I pay tithes. From that brown envelope, I give urgent 2K. I give 10K to my mother. I give to auntie. I pay school fees for somebody. Nobody is asking you, how did you get this money? But it's brown envelope, proceeds from corruption.
Okay.
But I have subsidized people's lifestyle. The moment that stopped coming, automatically those people who were relying on, who are dependent on that, my brown envelope, will go hungry. And anybody will say, oh, there is hunger. So the moment those twin policies were introduced, certainly the ripple effect, could it have been done better? It is left for the government, because sometimes, considering the experience of the previous government, that look, if you wait a day longer, the hawks would hold you by the neck to ensure that that policy remains. So today, you find that to some extent also there are some form of balance at the macro level. But it has not trickled down to the microeconomic level. That's where I expected the opposition to be talking about the microeconomic. How do we ensure that, yes, the government will tell you there's more money in the hands of the governors, but are there industries, are there security and that will provide opportunity for industries?
Let opposition make these points.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said that's where the conversation, that's why I say I agree with the caller that these are critical conversations that we should be having. What should be the macro policies that, because it is the that is the heart of the economy. All this is the micro that grinds the small and medium scale. And that's where employment will come from. And it is the micro that also will tally with the macro to create education, not this kind of education where you are taught to be job seekers instead of job creators. So these are the conversations we need to be having.
Indeed.
But unfortunately, the government of the day also created the environment for this kind of conversation. Poverty, hunger. They did it. That was the same thing they did to come into power. So you can't also blame the opposition now. It's just that the only difference is that you can't use the tactics of those in government against them. They are very good at it. So you need to change the narrative. You need to change the conversation. And so this is free advice that I'm giving to the opposition now. If you want to use these tactics of hunger, they will share money for the people that are hungry on election day and then still, sweep the poll. So that's where we need to begin to have this conversation. How do we ensure that security, for example, it's not enough to have a stakeholders meeting. After the stakeholders meeting, what next? How do we ensure that the environment is truly secure?
Okay.
Who provides security apart from the police? And even the police.
We're even going into governance, and indeed, I understand why you went there. But when you look at ADC, for instance, well, first of all, look at Nigeria. The president has to come from the south. It's not written somewhere in law and in block, in cement, but that's where the president has to come from. Otherwise, there are those who will say, no, this thing is not working.
That's why a lot of people are angry.
So
look, we can't pretend.
And Atiku, I said, I want to see that party run without Atiku being made the presidential candidate.
That's where he's also getting it wrong. We can't pretend that we are united. I have also said it at different fora. Divided we stand. Divided we stand. We are a nation inside a nation.
Because Atiku wants to be president.
What people call nation.
And he won't waste his time being part of ADC if he wasn't sure.
That's what I'm saying. So, but what we call tribe here are what people call nation in Europe.
Okay.
For example, Czechoslovakia, remember, was once one country.
Indeed,
it had seven tribes.
Indeed.
But today there are 7 countries.
Okay.
Yugoslavia.
Let Mazi Okorafor add his own. He's been on the phone for a while. Mazi, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess. Honestly speaking, the remarks coming in as the chairman, there's nothing wrong, but the question is that this issue of hijacking an existing party by the newcomers, to me, it doesn't make sense. But that one is not politics. But INEC recognized this. Now, INEC, are they 300? Those last ones that God have 50%. But the thing is this, it is not jumping from one political party that will solve Nigerian problem. It is not jumping from one level to another level. Our own politicians to sit down, be stakeholders, be statesmen, and be advancing the young ones. That is what I expected them to do.
All right.
Jumping from one place to another does not make sense. Let them take this. Look at Republicans, look at Democrats in the US. They still maintain their standards. Nobody does, whether they win or don't win, they go back and wait for the next 4 years. They revive themselves, they inform themselves, and come back. If they are political, that is why in Nigerian politics, keep its place. Money and power. Either you have the money or you have the power, but it's not a problem. Good morning,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, the country I was referring to, Yugoslavia, was the country that broke into 7 countries. Czechoslovakia broke into 2 tribes, Slovakia and the Czech Republic. So here, we pretend to be one Nigeria, or the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable.
To keep Nigeria one is a task that must be
accomplished. But we recognize the fact that you have north, south, east, and west. In fact, we even have 6 geopolitical zones now. And so, with what happened in the Buhari presidency, there are so many people that do not like the administration of Tinubu, for example. But they will tell you, look, the north cannot continue to play God on the rest of the country. You can't provide, especially considering the rampage of headsmen during Buhari's administration, and then the attitude of government to it, and the seemingly untouchable nature of some persons once you say you are Fulani. And some statement credited to El-Rufai when he said that Fulani everywhere in the world are their brothers and they protect them. Even the policies he's condemning today, he once, supported when he was a governor. So when all of this happens, those in the south are going to say, look, give us a minute. Yes, this man might not be the best so that we should have, but then another northerner cannot just come and say, after just 4 years of the southerner, that's when you remember agitation. When Jonathan was there, all of you suddenly remembered that, yes, Nigeria was not moving in the right direction. For the 8 years of Buhari, you did not complain. You didn't find your voice. If anybody complained about Buhari, you would insult the living daylight out of the person. You maintain a conspiracy of silence, including those people who were part of the Buhari administration, people like Malami, who was one of the attorney general that disrespected court orders the most. And then today, all of a sudden, you find you now know that Nigerians are suffering. Amechi, who was a governor, who was a speaker for 8 years, governor for 8 years, minister under Buhari for 8 years. And now today, all of a sudden, you suddenly remember that, yes, Nigerians are suffering. So
but he has said that if it is decided that whoever is going to be the candidate, we all have agreed to work for him. When he said we all, he includes himself. But I suspect that Amechi and et al., they're all in there because of their presidential ambition.
It's not just, Amechi knows that it does not have that kind of clout to even win the presidential primaries.
Okay, you don't think Amechi has what it takes?
It doesn't have it. He thinks he's Obi. Even Peter Obi, people are saying that if Peter Obi is given the tickets in the ADC, and then people can begin to say, but we did not. People can say, yes, let us, now you have a formidable party, giving him the ticket, and then let's support him. But we did not have the faith, the same faith that they have in Buhari in him. So these are all the plenty questions. So it's not enough for people to just wake up and say, oh, today, the country is not moving in the right direction. So we're forming a new party to remove the sitting president. After removing the sitting president, what next?
What next?
Just the same way we say, remove Jonathan. The same people that removed Jonathan today are apologizing to him to say, oh, look, it was a conspiracy. We lied against him.
It's even being rumored that President Jonathan is being wooed to come into ADC. If either President Jonathan or just give us one or two.
Jonathan is not what they think. I don't think he is who they think he is, because with the kind of betrayal that man suffered in their hands in 2015, even when he on his own went around, with the kind of campaign of calumny against him. I've never been a fan of Jonathan until date. I do not believe that he ruled Nigeria well. He started from Obasanjo. If Obasanjo had done so well, but unfortunately, Because we get it so bad after every government, you now begin to look at the previous government as if they are sense.
As if those ones
Yes, as if those. So the problem we are facing, is a long time coming. Obasanjo had opportunity to, put this nation on the right path on the sand of time. But he missed it.
He did.
And then he wanted a third term. Brought Jonathan and Yaradua. Jonathan also was not firm. That was why they were able to pull the rug off his feet. So coming back to do what?
Okay. Tony in Kaduna, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mr.
Okay. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, I really love your analysis, great analysis from Oshoma.
Yeah.
And most of your callers. But I'm not a fan from any political party. It is good as it has been recognized as a political party.
Oh, okay. So sorry, Tony. The audio is not all that it could be. In fact, it's bad. It's just that they have tried to do to process it, but that's not working. So sorry about that. So where we are now,
Jonathan would be making the greatest mistake of his life if he allowed these people to drag him into the race for his selfish reasons. Because at the end of the day, these people might still abandon him if care is not taken. And the economy he left in 2015 is not the economy of today. And I do not see the magic. Without this country practicing a proper federal structure where governance will start from the bottom to the top. If we continue this feeding bottle arrangement where everybody goes to Abuja on Monday and come back on Friday and then share allocation, the easiest thing to do is to become governor in Nigeria. You don't need to work because at the end of the month, allocation will just drop on your lap. You buy expensive vehicles and then pay salaries. And then you can tie a few roads here and there and you say you are doing so well. We need a structure where people can actually work.
I need to I beg your pardon, so sorry. I need to make an announcement. It depends on where you're watching. Just in case, the content goes away from here, what you will be watching would be over in Akure, groundbreaking ceremony for some, for the construction of houses for cabinet members. So that is if it changes. If it hasn't changed, we're good. And of course, if it has changed and you're still interested in what we're talking about here, check us out on our YouTube channel, and we can continue from there. Anyway,
let me not say this is commercial for the station, but we're talking about groundbreaking for houses for executive member, not groundbreaking for houses, low-cost housing estates that workers can pay, contribute through mortgages to own. That way that you don't have to, when you retire, you don't have to steal to own a big house because you already have a roof over your head. These are ways that we can truly eradicate poverty. If we continue this idea of everything must come from the federal.
No, but this is not from federal law. This is from
what
state.
I am saying is,
I hear what you.
What I'm saying is,
I understand that.
Yeah.
Instead of making it internal, why is it not nationwide?
So when the allocation comes, like this is what governors do. Look for those catchy programs.
Very good.
And so this is what they do. And so at the end of the day, then these are what they will use to woo voters. And then those people who they feel have, the influence of voters. But the thing should go beyond that. The local government should be very highly functional. Recently, I had the privilege of looking at some local government in Lagos. Apart from Lagos, local government in Lagos, really, maybe because of the unique nature of Lagos, which other local government? In my own, it was the local government chairman saying, may the crown stay in your head. And you ask yourself, what does this one know about budgeting? So if your local government are not functional, is NYSC for you. And NYSC means now your suffering continue. Even if another government comes, it's going to be the same thing.
Oh,
so
dear.
what we should be asking, it is the local government that drives the microeconomy. Because those are the government that is closest to the people. They know the number of people resident in the local government, the kind of jobs that they require, what the soil in that area, what they can produce, the kind of security that is needed, whether kinetic or otherwise. But the federal government can't be everywhere. So if anybody is coming to tell you, oh, when I come in, poverty will be eradicated, it's a lie. It's now NYC.
You won't believe that we've actually just about run out of time. But this new coalition, thank you for being here, so we sort of opened it up, and the others are going to follow. Because we need to hear what the agenda of ADC is all about, beyond Saint Tinubu and his cabinet packing.
They would still point you to their constitution and manifestos. These same manifestos are product of copy.
Exactly. It doesn't mean anything.
From the same source. One person wrote the constitution of PDP and APC. All the judges would decamp from this party, and then you join the constitution drafting committee. You look for one and just change names, and So it is like registering an NGO. The template is already there. Just copy. So that's where the challenge is, and that's why I'm saying until we practice a true federal structure, where the local government will be involved truly in governance, we'll just be deceiving ourselves. Nigerians should be careful.
We didn't really get to talk about Atiku Abubakar in ADC. He is not a southerner. He wants to contest.
That's where the Southern, a lot of the Southerners, even though they don't want Tinubu, for example, that's where a lot of them are angry. Even some obedient members who feel, look, if Atiku had Obi had a line in 2023, Tinubu wouldn't have been president today.
Okay,
but this ambition splits them, yes. And till date, nobody is still talking about those lessons learned. They are still talking about Atiku going, Obi going, Amechi going, and
Well, Libros, I want to thank you, as I always do. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Libros Oshoma, lawyer and political